It is so funny, Seth. I just got the notification you're live.
Look right there, dude.
Hi
Look right there.
guys. Hi.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Guitar Safari with Charles and Seth, and our wonderful guest tonight, Tony from Addicted to Gear.
Hi
This is the
guys.
man. Oh, so sorry to cut you off. This is the man responsible for putting these two crazy guys together. So, thank
Yeah,
you, Tony.
you see, and people say nothing good happens from on my channel. See, this is a good thing, right?
Right, the internet's good for something.
All
Yeah.
right. So our standard thing is we're going to go ahead and welcome everybody in from the chat real quick, Tony, if you don't mind.
Let's do
I
it.
want to welcome in Herba Fireside Studio.
snark. I'm being attacked by a snark. Sorry,
Well, at least you'll be in tune now.
I can't get that guy in
You'll
tune.
be tuned in. So Herba Fireside Studios here, along with Herb Hawley and Fireside Ambience. We got all the herbs in a
We got hold on. 3
triangle.
herbs.
All the
Yeah,
herbs.
time to smoke some herbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? I'm sorry. What? It's California. It's legal.
Yeah.
Legal here too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. Hell yes. That means
We
I
have
could live
Robert
both
Gary
places and be
and
comfortable.
all the cats. We have Vox Guitar Rocks.
Meow, meow, meow,
Our
meow,
buddy
meow.
Dennis Ellis in nice and early and saying welcome to me, Seth and I. Thank you
What
very
up,
much.
Dennis?
Appreciate it. He's hoping everybody stays warm and dry out there.
It's cold. Yeah, it is cold. I have an electric heater here. What about you, Tony? You got what kind of heat are you doing? You got
I got ours is natural gas, so it's a little different. But
you're living large. I get it. I got
uh,
I
yeah, I
spent all my
wish.
money on gold, and now I got to go electric.
Like I was saying, I feel underdressed. I should have gotten the memo.
Yeah, well, my wife said dress up, and I was like, yeah, I got you, babe. I got you. I've been doing this lately just because I don't want to look poor.
Don't encourage him, Tony. Don't encourage him.
The sparkles match his guitar, so it's all good.
It's a thing. After I do this, I just walk around with 2 guitars all day. What up, dudes?
All right, let me finish welcoming folks in the
Okay,
chat
sorry,
before he
sorry,
goes
sorry.
way off the rails here. Internationally Insane Studios, Enrico B. Welcome Enrico B. Welcome in International Insane Studios. Randy Brooks, stop listening to the Moody Blues to be here. You gotta love that. And Blackjack
Keep it
Guitar.
going in the background.
Maybe. And Patrick Trites, Wayne McConnell,
What a-
some guy named Presty California Customs. I don't know who that is.
That guy, don't trust him.
And our other Canadian YouTuber friend, Ben Coombs, is in the house.
Yes, brother Ben.
Dwight Bailey, BC Rich 581, Guitar Man 45, Bonkers.
So Tony, so one of the things is the algorithm that came through watching your show, starting out like back in the day, dude. Years ago, I hurt myself and I was watching a lot of YouTube, and I was watching your channel, and then I started to get recommendations coming through, and one of them was Ben's channel. And I was like, oh, Ben. You know how you see people on the internet and you're like, oh, we're kind of similar.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. There's a connection there.
Yeah, you got the messy workbench. I was like, yeah, yes, yes, I relate.
Yeah, well, Ben and I had a chat once too. I remember. So
Yeah.
it was good. It was good. Yeah, you know what? I mean, that's the cool thing about the internet, right? It's like people try hard to create content in the hopes that, they're going to get popular and all that kind of stuff. I don't really look at it that way. I'm just like, do your thing, and the people that are like-minded will find you. And at the end of the day, those are the people you want to kind of be around anyway. So it's all good. It's a good thing,
You don't surf because you think you look good. Surf because
Yeah.
it's fun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's what a lot of people are like. Did you see that? And I was like, well, no, but was it fun? Well, did you see that? Well, no, but who cares?
Exactly. And
But
at
it
the
is
end,
nice to get on stage now and then and make sure everybody saw that.
yeah, absolutely.
I get it.
And you guys are doing a great job with the with the shows, and I catch it from once in a while. I have to say I can't catch it all the time. I know at a certain point we were overlapping a little bit, and like after I do my thing and I'm yapping for like an hour and a half, I'm like, okay, that's enough. I got to go do something now.
Oh, actually, you should know that the original name for the show, that when we were going around before we landed on Guitar Safari, I kept advocating Live After Tony. I'm not even kidding, because like we
No,
really
it
existed.
really
because-
was, and it was completely in the running. It was the odds-on favorite.
Totally, because we existed because we went on after you would normally sign off. We were all
Right.
like, oh well, I'm still high on coffee. What the hell? So
That's cool.
Oh, we probably would have done it, but then you started doing the thing where you were like, where you decided sometimes I'll go on in the evening, because you were trying to test out the whole evening thing and how that would work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was like, well, we can't go on after Tony before Tony. It doesn't work.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? It's so hard to find
Welcome
a
in,
good.
William DeSilva, Sadie Lamp duo. So sorry.
No problem.
You're saying it's so hard to find good names?
No, it's so hard to find a good time slot. It's like I'm trying evenings, I'm trying mornings. Mornings are tough because you wake up sometimes and you're like, oh man, you got your head's all fuzzy, you're like not awake yet, and you got to do the thing. And then so I figured, okay,
especially like hands.
Oh, my hands won't move.
Yeah, hands are like a voice. You need to be doing a few things.
Before,
right? Maybe you could type might help if you typed a page or two before you know what I mean? Like seriously, how do you get that warm?
You can't in the morning. That's the thing. So that's why I don't always play in the morning, because I'm like, forget it. My fingers are not going to move. So then I started doing the evening thing. I figured it'll give some of the people, because a lot of people are, international, they're from other places, and I figured, okay, I'll give them a chance to basically watch the show once in a blue moon. But
I love the fact that people are international, because I like to fjord around now and then.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to go fjording and go check out cool shit. And like, I want to come up to Canada. That's going to happen. I just have to upgrade from the Geo Metro to something that will make me.
You know what? You shouldn't complain,
Ryan.
You're in a nice warm spot, and
I love it. I love it.
Anytime you want to switch, just let me know.
Check this out, Tony. You'll like this. So I ride my e-bike to work.
That's cool.
Even though we've had some rain, every single day so far this school year, since the beginning, I have not had to drive. I've just ridden my e-bike to and from. I've gotten soaked a couple times, but only on the way home. And I just upped my gear a little bit, so I'm a little bit. But that's kind of impressive, right? Like being off a bike is.
I love e-bikes.
I'm sorry, out of a car.
Yeah. Yeah. E-bikes are fantastic. I love one. I got mine. I got one too, and it's like I love that thing. And it's like it doesn't make you feel old.
I passed the kids. Let me say this, dude. Today on the way to school, there's a kid, a teenager kid. I know you have kids too, so don't let them do this. The kid is riding a $3,000 e-bike. I live in a kind of affluent area in Marin, and he has his helmet hanging from the handlebar, right? First bad thing. Second bad thing, guess what he's doing? Driving with his hands in his pockets because he doesn't have gloves, and it's 30 degrees. So he's balanced doing that. He's doing about 20 miles an hour because I'm doing 18, and I'm behind him by about a quarter block. And then I see him like stumble and almost eat it, and I'm like, holy, I'm going to be first responder for this head injury. And then he recovers and keeps going, and then I'm like, oh, my God. So as a teacher, I had a dilemma. I'm like, do I stop and grab this kid and get his name and email his parents, or do I just,
How old was this guy, roughly?
Probably 15 or 16.
Yeah.
Good looking today, but God knows tomorrow when he smashes his face and has a traumatic brain injury, which I don't want to see. So I was thinking I would just go up to him and try to approach him and trick him. Like, oh, dude, that's a great bike. That's cool. Where did you get it? Oh, cool, man. Hey, what's your name? Oh, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do I know your dad? Oh, Jimmy Lassen. And then just go email his parents.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a little bit of a dick teacher thing to do, but I really comes from a good place, right? So
comes from a good place. I mean,
Charles, you got kids. What should I do?
You're doing the right thing.
Well, 90% of the time a kid falls over, gets hurt, they're going to get back up. You don't even need to worry about it. It's when they start complaining, that's when you need to worry. Because
I was the one that just hit my head too hard, right? Not him. You're right.
Yeah. So Tony, we had both found our way over to your channel, and we would conversate back and forth in the chat, and so we were one day. You said, I don't know where you said, well, why don't you two get together? It literally was one of those kind of things, right?
It was, yeah.
And build a guitar or something.
Yeah,
like
because I remember, Seth was all, showing the guitar builds that he's working on, and then you were showing the great fabric top guitars that you were working on, and I'm like, these guys got something in common. Is like everybody likes, they're working on their own guitars, they're doing their own thing. Would be cool. Get together,
super infatuated with the plec for a long time because the plec is the way, and it is the way to do things. I'll no longer have one next to me all day, but it is still the way. Although I'll do a hand level at home to save the time of even just going back and forth and dropping it off for a plec or whatever on my own guitars. But people like to buy them plecked.
Yeah, I have one of my Les Pauls came to me plecked already from Gibson, and it's feels great. And I agree. There's like, once your guitar is set up properly, getting the neck done the right way is, that's the money end of the guitar. If this doesn't feel good, no matter what you do here, it's never going to feel good. So, if you're serious about playing guitar, I would say plec is the way to do it if you have access. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's going to be done right.
I only do it if I have a problem at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does it play good, or is it giving me only fix what is a problem? Some people would come in and I got to plec every guitar. I was like, okay, do what you want. But at this point, with teacher budget, I'm like plec what needs it.
Plec what needs it. Well, if you're buying new necks to put on your guitars, and they come to you not like really like leveled or anything, you can tell. You got to do it. So either if you know how to do it manually if you wish, but plec, it's going to be done right. So it's all
Save
good.
Your arm too.
Yeah.
Out of this.
Well, I want to say hello to Keith H and Jeff K and our buddy Ferg Burfel and Sadie Lamp Duo.
Ferg is in the house.
So Tony, how did you get wrapped up in doing this whole guitar YouTube thing and creating the really great size community that you have?
It wasn't ever like, I never really had a plan. I didn't start doing this and say, I want to be a YouTuber. But when I started in YouTube, it's probably over 10 years ago. And there was like, I guess there was people doing it, but I didn't realize that, being an influencer is a thing. For me, it was just... Yeah.
Surfing for surfing. Yep, that's why it was good. That's why it was fun to watch, because you were doing something you liked for doing something you liked. You
exactly.
Yeah,
no, the videos I was making at the time were just because I had gear, and honestly, I wanted to get people's opinions. I'm like, how does this sound to you? How does this amp sound to you? And I would give you my opinion. Say, this is what I think. What do you think? But it wasn't. Totally. It wasn't like I need to have X number of followers or anything like that. That was never the plan.
Dude, so 137 subscribers and gold like this, brother. I'm not here for the money. I'm not here for the money. I'm just talking. I'm speaking my mind.
There you go.
And I really appreciate you hanging out with like what is seemingly a nobody. You probably, because you get an invite and you're probably like logging onto the channel. And then, Charles has a good follow. But, okay, following. And we're just building our way up. But you're like, when someone is 10 times what you have, then you're like, all right. But when you're at 137, it's really kind of easy to do the math of how many times somebody else has how many subscribers.
Yeah, but dude, there's all the guys that are doing this that are actually, there's a way more, popular people than me. I'm still a nobody in terms of how many people are following me, but compared to the big boys out there. But I mean, you got to start somewhere, and if it's something that you like to do, it's not a question of, I don't look at it like, I need to hit this goal or this milestone. It's nice if it happens, but really it's to chat with cool people, to hang out. I love the Sunday shows more than like doing the videos, to be honest with you.
Totally.
Because
no editing.
Well, it's that it's that interaction, right? It's that you get to talk to people in the community, whether even if you're just reading a chat. And that's why we were super thrilled when you came on, because we've been big fans of your channel forever. We've watched it, we stalked you in it, we shared, we was like, please show our stuff, and you did.
Well, absolutely, yeah. Sending emails, please.
And speaking of showing stuff, Vox Guitar Rocks is asking how your amp build, how the amp build's coming along.
It's coming along nicely, guys. I have to say, I have some more video that I shot continuing the build. But I'm thinking at this point I'm gonna like stop putting those videos out because I think I'm boring people. I mean, how exciting could it be to watch a guy like populating a board, you know? And at the beginning, I'm like, I'm gonna do this because I'm sure I'm gonna mess up, and this is gonna be some video that somebody's gonna be able to help me find what I did wrong with, you know? If I document it and I put something in the wrong place, somebody's gonna come and say, "Hey, Tony, you messed up there," you know, and save the day. But people are watching it, so I continue doing it. But
it's also like taking a picture of the wiring when you get started, right? Getting in there, taking 3 good iPhone or whatever phone pictures.
Yep.
So that when you get lost later, at least you know where you started.
Exactly. So it's coming along. I'm hoping to have some time to finish it. Holidays are coming up, so I'll have some more time. And I'm so eager to like plug that thing in and see if it smokes or if it actually works.
Yeah, that's the moment of truth, right?
It's the first time I do that, man. I am not anywhere near an electronic wizard or anything like that. I can wire up a guitar, but when it comes to anything that can actually kill you, I've never done that before. So I'm a little nervous, to be honest.
And there's kind of 2 moments. Since you're building your own amp, there's really kind of 2 moments, right? There's the moment when you first plug it in, because okay, we're good, and then you got to flip the switch.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I don't know.
You can have a stick for that, right? Can't you just kind of back off, get a face shield?
Yeah,
have a stick.
Grab a hockey stick or something.
Right. And the hockey gear, we might as well gear up for that shit if you've got it around.
That's a good idea. I think I'm going to do that.
Tony, that's the video.
That's the video. Exactly.
The hockey gear with the stick turning that shit on.
With my son standing behind me with the fire extinguisher.
And the bigger the explosion, the more likes.
Yeah, probably.
See, the thing is, if you happen to be in an area with a volunteer fire station, you can get them to show up ahead of time.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Don't tell my wife that. She'll be putting on her makeup and making the call.
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back.
No problem.
Uh-oh, dude. Charles just left. He always wants to like make it awkward for me, Tony.
He's in trouble. I think he's in trouble.
I know what the hell is going on. I heard something, Dad. So that always means, all right. He's, you know what he's got right now? His wallet out.
Probably, yeah.
As soon as you hear Dad, you're like, okay, how much is this going to cost?
Or they need the car keys or something. You know, it's like
it's funny. I wrote a song the other night and I did it live on a chat called Budget Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a song that actually will bring my guitar and perform at family functions to basically say, like, look, this is why I didn't get all you guys presents, right? So, and then I'll sing around. I was just telling our boy about the Budget Christmas because I was being awkward, Charles. I'm sorry that I'm awkward, and I apologize.
This guy is out of control. We gotta get rid of Presley. What are we gonna do?
Hello, Michael Krause. We get off the rails here every now and then. Ryan Hall, our music brother-in-law there.
We'll just like focus. Come back.
That's my role around here. I've got to my role is to rein Seth in. And some days I do a really good job. Some days it's just like,
it's like a hurricane.
Just let him go. It's too late.
It's okay. It's always fun when it's unpredictable.
That's we live on unpredictability. Predictably unpredictable.
The thing that I'm really curious about though is how did you get into putting together your own guitars? How did that come about?
Good question. I think it's just because I'm cheap. No, I mean, originally I bought it, I had a guitar. I got my very first guitar. I convinced my mom to spend some money and buy this stealth black Ibanez guitar, which I really
know exactly what guitar you're talking about. The single hum Ibanez. It's the Roadstar 2.
It is the Roadstar 2, but it didn't have a humbucker. It was single.
Okay, yeah.
Because I really wanted a Strat. I really wanted a Strat, and this was the guitar that looked the closest to a Strat with the 3 single coils, and but it was all black, so I thought that was
So
cool.
good.
So I said, okay, let's go with that, But it didn't have a Floyd or anything. It was before they started putting Floyds on them. They had their own little hybrid tremolo system, whatever.
Yep.
So I ended up buying that guitar, and over the years, I bought a few guitars, mostly on the used market because they were cheaper. And then I figured, I can mix and match. I had enough like guitars. I'm like, I like that body, and I like that neck, and I'm gonna put them together and make my own. Then from just assembling guitars, got a little bit more deeper. Started swapping pickups and doing little modifications, and then slowly started to learn how to do stuff. And it's like once you start playing around with the frets and the nut, there's not that much. I mean, you know how to set a relief, you know how to intonate the guitar, and then fretwork.
It's the years of encountering the problems that you need to overcome to get to the next step, to get to completion, right?
Yes.
Like when you get that buzzy buzz on one of the strings and you're like, oh my God, the nut it's not backfiled correct. And then you go through that 3 times, and then every time when you hear that buzzy buzz.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it takes years though, dude. And that's why when someone brings you their guitar and they don't know that, they can either spend years doing it, or they could pay you the, if they're a homie, $75, right? That's a really good deal for a proper setup and throw some strings on it.
It's sad when you see people like looking at the wrong things. There's something wrong with the guitar. You kind of know what it is through experience. You know where to look, and they're like adjusting the wrong things and just making it worse. So that's if you're not at that level where you're comfortable with it, you're just better off just
Tony. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I'm just so glad that there's so many guys on YouTube doing that now that actually know what they're doing. I mean, there's enough of them out there where you can watch different ones and see who knows what they're doing and who doesn't. And it's like
I sold a Strat to a guy with a perfectly radius 7 1/4 neck. So I perfectly radiused the saddles, and it was like set up perfect. And he sent me a close-up picture of the saddles from this angle, and he says, "Look how uneven these saddles are." I was like, "Oh my God, I can't even respond to that. That's so deep down the rabbit hole of you're an asshole."
Yeah.
So I just threw my hands up in the air, and even my wife was like, "Is this guy dumb?" I sent him a picture of a radius gauge, right? And I said, "Maybe this will, say it to you, but I can't."
When you get those kind of things happen, you say, "You're absolutely right, dude. I'm sorry. You should definitely straighten that out right away."
It must have happened in transit. It probably shook itself into a perfect 7 1/4. You should set it back flat again. Yes, definitely do that. That's going to be comfortable. On that, 7 1/4 is really. Dude, let me say this. I said a comment on Highline Guitar's video, where he was talking about different fretboard radiuses, and I said this comment that sometimes I might play a little bit differently if I'm on a 7 1/4 old style Fender versus like a 14 or a 16 Ibanez shredder. I might play a little bit more intentional, for me anyway, on the rounder surface and kind of think about my blues licks. But when I'm on a flatter board, I kind of just get around better. And the guy said, I find this to be not Highline Guitars. I thought it was Highline Guitars because I'm an idiot, but when I first read it, but then I read later. But some guy was like, "That's so silly. That's so stupid. You would never feel any difference on different radius." So.
Okay.
Internet, tell us what you think, because I feel like what I said was kind of polite. I said, I feel guitars a little bit differently than you do, and your comment comes off as really dickish. I've always been a supporter and a fan. I still appreciate what you do. And that was because I thought it was the guy like responding to me in a dickish way. And then because I was all hot-headed and off-put by the comment.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it wasn't him, and I said, whatever. He didn't read the comment, obviously, anyway. So I just walked on in life. But I was like, come on, dude. If you're going to post something, don't just be a dick.
You know what? That's one of the aspects of doing, anything on YouTube, any kind of social media for that matter, where you're gonna have to deal with comments. And it's like, there's so many people that waste so much time just to write something dumb, Like, why even waste your time doing that? Like,
Put
just
up with Sherman all week and then that.
just move on. No, it's like, I appreciate all the comments, good or bad. Everybody's entitled to their opinions, but I don't have to spend any energy on the ones that I don't want to. So I just ignore the ones that are like, totally useless. But we all know. I mean, Charles, it's like every guitar is different. People still don't. My wife still doesn't understand that. But I mean, it's like, why you keep on?
Every time and not to interrupt you, but every time that I get a new one, it's always the same question. Why do you need another one? Because this one does something that those don't.
I keep on telling my wife, why do you need another purse? They're all the same.
Right. Exactly. They all hold your stuff.
Well, I said that to my wife once about dishes, and she got it for like 3 seconds. And then
totally.
she get registered, and then she's like, yeah, but why do you need so many?
That's it.
Guitars are holding money in a guitar form as long as if you're making the right decisions. I would say that Tony's stable of guitars is a valuable asset. Am I right?
And it's also a great way to evaluate other guitars. I use it as a totem pole.
Totally.
Where I have these guitars, but I'm not necessarily tied to any one of them. I mean, there's ones I like, but if I bring in a new guitar, they're all up for evaluation. And at the end of the day, if there's one that falls, to the end of the pile, it's time to get rid of it. If I'm not playing it, and just keep the cream of the crop, so to speak. So that's how I do it. It's if I bring something in, it's most likely something else is going out. So
put them on the block.
It's always the same money circulating. It's not like a huge additional investment.
Absolutely. I give my wife extra points if she's watching like the Country Music Awards and she's like, oh, that guy's got a Telecaster.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is one of the easier ones because you could just say that and point at any guitar and you're going to be right 1 out of 5 times.
True.
Like I've got a kid that after every presentation at school, he's like, I like your pictures. It's like, oh, I never saw that coming. Like, you've said that every time for 2 years or a year and a half at least. Anyway. Love the kid.
Go. I think Charles, you wanted to read the comment there. Go ahead.
Oh well, I love it. Dennis Ellis here is saying, there is hope here. The wife looked and said, "You don't have a blue one," so he's working on that.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I would give him a tip there, but if his wife's around, I'll save it for later.
In Guitar Man 45, his wife is definitely a keeper. She encourages it.
That's definitely a keeper.
That guitars are everywhere.
Yes, that's great.
She understands the system that it can be. The first time I bought a vintage guitar at one point and then sold it for some more money, my wife was like, "Oh, okay, all right, you can do that."
My wife tends to appreciate when if I flip something, it's like oh, you sold that guitar, good, sell another one.
Wow, these things can sell.
Yeah. I told her, I said, one day, I'm gonna be very nervous if one day I ever pass away and my wife sells my guitars for the amounts that I told her I bought them for. Because then it would be a very, very bad thing. So I took my son aside and I told him, I said, son, I'm gonna tell you the actual value of these guitars one day, and just keep that in mind. If ever I'm not around, you're gonna be in charge.
Yep.
Yeah, see, we need a secret notebook with all the information.
Yeah.
And then you tell him where it is.
Exactly.
Totally. Hey, Tony, is it hard for you are you already plugged in and on your interface and able to let us hear that awesome guitar that you're holding that you built?
Well, I am plugged in, but I don't know how well it's going to sound from on my end.
It sounds amazing.
Hear that?
It sounds amazing.
It's not, like I mentioned, it's not actually in any particular tuning, because it was, how the little the fine adjustment tuners sometimes bottom out.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then you have to unlock this and then retune and lock it down again. Yep. I'm too lazy to do that. So what I do is I just take whatever, I can sort of average out and just tune to that.
Totally.
That's why it's not like in a particular.
It wouldn't hit the exact bar. I got you.
No.
If you're just playing to yourself in the room, as long as it's in tune with itself.
That's exactly it. That's what I'm doing. So it's like if I actually put it on the tuner, it's not even going to be like, it's going to be somewhere between a flat note and a like a good note.
Whether it's
like
cold, whether it's dry or humid, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
So I'm playing through my my FM9, and I have like this kind of overdriven sound. I'm trying to get that, Van Halen sound,
The pinch harmonics on that thing are super reactive and like really sound nice.
Yeah, it's not. I like the gurgles when you can, whatever you end up doing.
Oh,
that's
nice.
what I love.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I love about the Floyd too.
Well, and the Vega, right? The Vega is like the Cadillac for that.
Well, this is not the Vega. This is
I know.
This is actual.
I know you got Vegas though, right?
The Vega is like butter.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
expensive,
so
fine
nice.
butter.
Oh my god! But when you do the the gurgles and everything, it's like it doesn't stop, and it's like this is a good Floyd because it is an old one. But you can't compare it to the way the Vegatram feels.
Have you ever had a problem or just been upset with a Vegatram restringing it? I found it to be pretty easy. I usually pull it all the way out.
I don't have an issue. You mean because it falls out?
Well, no, I just usually pull it all the way out because it's just easier than sticking the strings through because it's so easy to do the tension. I just untension it with my hand, pop the springs, pull the whole thing out, and then just do the strings real quick and then pop it
put
back
it back in. Yeah.
And I just have never had a problem.
Me neither. I mean, the quality of the metal on those,
so good.
They're really, it's like medical grade. I don't know what the actual level of like stainless is that they're using, but you can tell like the actual blades on there, they're like really well made, and the machining is so precise that I don't think you're going to have issues. I had, and people laugh at me all the time because I put one into my Kramer Beretta Special, because the Kramer Beretta Specials are very inexpensive guitars. The Vegatram. The Vegatram costs more than the guitar.
$350, right? The Vegatram's $350. That's like when I'm gonna put the twin turbo all-wheel drive system in my Geo.
Exactly. It's kind of the same idea. And so people are like, "Why would you do that?" I'm like, "Because it's a great guitar, and it's even better now." So it's like, why wouldn't I do it?
Don't deny the cheapness, because the cheapness can be really good, especially. So I've been wanting to get a headless guitar, like and I've some of our chat and Ben recently had one like a E-Art, and I know you have some experience with them. But I just find it really hard, and this is bad to be so cheap, but I find it really hard to spend even $300 or $400. Because look at behind me. Like I have all these guitars that I love to play, and they have my name on them. I feel like it's wrong to buy. But I do want one eventually, when for travel or whatever, if we end up going to Mexico, it's nice to have a headless that you can just.
It is nice to have a headless. I've had one that I purchased.
Build one.
Yeah, I have one that I built. Well, not I built. I actually got a nice one from Bootlegger, which was a very small guitar, but I can't get used to the headless aspect of it. It's really strange because it throws you off. Totally. It's like your perspective, like if you're playing, that you should be in a certain place on the neck, but your reference is this too.
You're referencing the headstock in your head.
So when they have the clip-on body parts for the acoustic guitar things, they should have a clip-on outline of a headstock.
Something like that.
Oh, you know what? There you go. You 3D print that shit, and there's your new product. It just goes on with a little rubber band kind of thing, holds it in place. You'd make it out of a coat hanger, and you're good to go.
Yep. That's right.
Resourceful, and I'm glad we had you here, Tony. Now we've developed new products together, and we're technically in business together.
If we make $1 million, I'm not going to ask for much. 15% is good. I'm happy with
because
that.
of you, I got the string stretcher.
Yeah, again. These are the type of things that people don't like. You can stretch a string with your hands.
Totally.
But I don't know. It makes it so much easier, and it's like you stretch. You put it. You just go back and forth a few times, and it's done. And it really makes a difference.
Well, I was doing so many a day, so many guitars a day at the shop that we would go through them to where we actually cut through the part.
Yep.
And it happened a couple of times, but I'm like, these things are disposable, and I will still. Well, you want another one that's a piece of junk? It broke. I was like, it's supposed to break. That would have been my finger over time, wearing down that much. So no, get me another $4 string stretch out, please. Put it on the order.
Let's field a question from the chat here. Herb of Fireside Studio has a question for you, and he says, "Do you have a video on that transition of your KBS?"
My KBS. I don't know what KBS stands for.
Or it's a bunch of BS.
Maybe
Kramer Special.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess he wants to know if you had a video.
Yes, I do. I'm slow, guy. Sorry, I didn't get the KBS reference. Yes, I do. It's on my channel. I did the conversion. Basically, the only thing I really converted was the bridge, because when I bought that guitar used, so it already had a different pickup in it, and a JB, so that wasn't stock, and the only thing I changed was the stock bridge, because the bridges on those guitars.
Duncan JB stock.
I bought it used. The guitar.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, that wasn't you. You pulled out the inexpensive Kramer Beretta pickup, put in a JB.
No, it was already done when I bought the guitar used.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, it
was already the previous owner had already done that.
I'm also slow, obviously.
So for me, that was like a great deal, because first of all, I saved
the pickup is worth $200 or
it was really a good deal, because the guitar was in good shape, and he already had the pickup in there, and I was probably going to change out the stock pickup anyways. So I'm like, okay, I'm halfway there, so I bought it, and then I got another one here. I don't know if I ever showed you this one here, you guys, but
bring it on. But that totally even more justifies the addition of the expensive trim, because here you are with a guitar that you got at a discount. It's already upgraded in the pickup,
right?
Or what else are you going to do? Well, I've got access to, and also people love that video, so that video is successful, right?
Look, these guitars, believe it or not, they're great guitars. Like the neck, if you like slim necks, the neck is slim. The one on the other one is actually less slim, because it's an older model. This is more of a more recent model, and the stock pickup is actually pretty good. I have no problems with it, but the bridge is not great. So I would say, like, if you're going to upgrade anything, do that. It doesn't have to be a Vega trim, but perhaps just put a better saddles on it, or whatever. So you're already halfway, to a really nice guitar. You might as well do it. And this one, I just put this is actually a decal, actually. So
Charles, I saw the whole thing of you doing that. It's like that you but the sides were a little bit difficult to wrap, but it came out so good. And
the sides are not wrapped.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's not a perfect match. Like the color is not perfect, but I was trying to do the satchel thing, which he's a great guitarist, by the way, if you guys know.
Well, Vox Guitar Rocks thinks you nailed it, because
he said satchel, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
right
there you go.
Chat,
satchel.
totally.
There you go. So you can see the front and back is this, same idea.
Yeah,
pretty easy to do. Yeah. So, because I don't really like the color. The original color is like kind of a salmon color. It's not really it's not red. So I said, either I'm going to paint the guitar or do something to it. So I started, let me put this on it first and see how I like that. And it's been on the guitar ever since. But I still might eventually paint it. So I don't know.
Dude, speaking of painting guitars, I just want to thank you and appreciate you for your series that you did. All of our people should check out, but they already have the series that was done on painting the Les Paul with you pulled off some nitro and put on you pulled off poly and you put on nitro. You touched up the poly and you threw down killer nitro, and it looked unbelievable.
So that's another story. Yeah, that's another crazy story that I'll tell you about. Let me just put this down.
That was created by AI. The whole thing was fake. He
all
didn't
fake.
even touch a guitar to make that video. He pressed a button that said,
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 10 years. There's enough footage there for you to create it. Boop, create it.
Well, it's kind of like this one. This is another one that I painted myself, right? So this is actually before I did this. And I said I had one of these guitars, and believe it or not, this guitar is made of Polonia,
So
which is like basically balsa wood. It's so light,
like really lightweight. Yeah,
it's crazy how light it is, and it has a nice flat radius neck. This is a very cheap guitar, okay? But I said, you know what? I'm gonna like make it my own. So I did the thing where I changed the pick guard. Didn't have this pick guard originally. Changed the saddles on the bridge, put in a different pickup in it.
Hold on. Said cheap guitar.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming cheapest you're going to get is the $100 for the body. Probably
Yeah.
100 and something, maybe 150 for a good neck. The pickup is going to be $50, $60 if it's on the cheap. The bridge is going to be $50, right? And I got to pay Tony at least $75 an hour, and he probably worked 5 hours on that cheap guitar. So we're talking about still about around $800, which is a cheap guitar, but it's not a $200 guitar. It's still a custom.
Yeah.
If you were going to sell that guitar, I would need to pay you around $1,000.
At least. Well, I mean, I guess so. I mean, just for the paint, like nobody's gonna paint a guitar for you.
It's so light you could throw it to me from where you are. You just go outside.
Like honestly, I think this guitar is like under 5 pounds.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's crazy. Anyways, so I turned it into a project. I did the stealth EVH paint job on it, which I think turned out pretty cool. And I learned a lot. And that's, eventually I decided to do this one. And that's the other project. So
well, see, that was one where I'll sit there and I'll turn around, and something you say to me all the time is, I don't know how you had the patience to do that one. Because the way that it's stealth like that, it turned out so great.
So
I was like, I never would have had the patience to achieve that.
Well, thankfully, the internet, guys, there's so many photos. The thing is, what I learned really quickly is that every photo of this guitar, of Eddie's guitars, are all different because they've evolved over time. So depending on which era you're looking at the guitar, there's different things on it. Different
adding
things.
Stuff as you go through.
Yeah,
right.
It changes all the time. So you have to kind of just like pick an era and say, okay, I'm going to aim for that and try your best. But thankfully, there was a lot of great pictures of his guitar that when it was in a museum, and some guys were taking pictures of it because it was hanging up behind glass. So they were taking pictures of like the front, the sides, and stuff like that. So I was basically using those pictures as a guide.
Totally.
And just doing it that way. And I could have went out and just bought the Fender version,
which is not inexpensive. There's the different levels of it. I think the cheapest level is like $1,500.
Yeah,
the next
well,
level's 25 or $3,000, and you can go up to the 10 grand, which I set a bunch of these up at almost every level. I've touched 20 of the Fender ones.
Yeah,
and all of them like needed help, but all of them were really cool when you got done. You're like, oh, I could play with this all day. I think those are the ones that you get yelled at by. Come on, get to the next guitar. You're like, oh, I just wasn't sure if it would intonate. Sorry.
Exactly.
20 minutes shredding,
Exactly, But the cool thing about building these kind of guitars is that, even if you like make, ding it or something, it doesn't matter. It's actually even better because, they're all dinged up anyway. So it's like, what the heck?
Every guitar I build is a relic. A little bit of relic.
You could charge more for that.
Totally, right? It's got one nick or ding. But, that's what happens when you actually build it. And we always, just like you were saying about the other one, like the one that you had the covering on, the Salmon guitar, that you're like, oh, it doesn't look that good and this and that. But we criticize ourselves 100%. Like looking at the guitar as someone just looking at it from this side, I'm like, that guitar's fucking killer. I don't know, but I also understand that when I pull out a beautiful guitar that I built and
Mm.
spent tons of time on.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, look at this one little thing that I did wrong. For some reason, I always want to point out the thing I did wrong.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, and they're like, what the hell? This thing's great. You know, I don't even care, you know.
But it's like that. I mean, when you're working on these things, you get really close to them, right? And they become a part of you.
Absolutely.
And part of it is, even though, and we've all had this experience where we're putting something together, we're making something, and we encounter a problem, and it's a fatal flaw within it, right? And you're like, but I can fix that, and you do, and it comes out really good. But in your mind, you still see how bad it was before every time you look at it, right?
Yeah, it's true. It is true. I don't know about you guys, but I'm very silly that way. Sometimes I'm very like a perfectionist, building the amplifier, like I was mentioning earlier on. I'm at the stage now where I have to like wrap wires around each other so that they don't cause noise.
Yep.
And like even just wrapping the wires, I'm like, I don't like the way that looks, you know. So I'm putting the wires in, I'm putting like right angles and everything, so like it's neat and they, you know, parallel with other wires in there. And like
beautiful.
Nobody would do that, except here I am driving myself crazy and like rewiring things 4 times because I don't like the way it looks, you know. So I don't know. It's crazy.
It's not crazy. It is obsessive, but
it is.
Obsessive is a good thing. I mean, would you say? I mean, all right, let's dig a little deeper. Would you say that like Einstein, that dude was freaking obsessive, but thank God he was like super smart and he figured a lot of cool stuff out. So being obsessive and focusing, and because I got a lot of crap for being so obsessed and so focused in on surfing. But surfing was a major thing that was so good for me because you're not doing bad stuff when you're surfing.
Right.
And you know, anyway, I just think that you being obsessed on making sure that it's good is not a problem. But you don't want to go too much to where you're just in a closet, like, oh, I gotta get it right.
Well, I'm not that obsessive, but you know, I do want it to be good, at least, you know. I mean, you're putting so much time and effort into it. At the end of the day, you want it to be something special. So,
hey, as a fanboy, can I see that awesome telly that has that beautiful candy apple double bound goodness? Is that thing available back there?
I was wondering which one of us was going to ask that first.
Because I sent him the reminder on that.
Yeah, sure.
When it finally came in stock, I was like, Tony, dude, it's in stock. You need to buy it now because they sell out of those hella quick.
And I got to thank you for that because
brother, I'm here for you. Don't even trip. It's all good.
But you don't know how long. You don't know how long I was trying to get.
Well, I do know
because I looked
like that. Like the date of when when I kind of made a mark of it of like when I sent it, because I just mark on when there's a parts ordering thing.
Yeah.
And you say put me on the waiting list, so it has the date from when you put on the waiting list. It was a long time. It was almost a year before it came in stock, and the day it did, I was like, you better buy it. It's only, but here's the thing that kind of sucks. It's significantly more expensive for you. Like sometime if you take a road trip, you need to roll through and just go home with like 6 bodies because they're only 100 and something, you know, shipped to my door. They're 110.
Yeah.
If you buy a few of them, you can cut down on shipping.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the shipping that usually gets you, but it's okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they are. Let me just grab it. I'll show you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was stoked that he built Charles.
I absolutely love it.
It's totally like a custom shop, kind of like a kind of like the custom. That's like a custom shop right there. Total custom shop look.
So basically, this one, like, you know, we were saying, body, you know, pretty inexpensive. But I mean, if you're trying to get a body like this anywhere else, if you're trying to get it on eBay, and if you're trying to get one that's actually a fender body like this, forget it. They're freaking expensive. Like, I think the cheapest I've seen was maybe like $600 something for it, you know?
Totally.
So, and then if you want, you know, the custom shop even more. And then, you know, I had this neck, which was a really nice roasted maple neck. And it actually originally wasn't, it didn't have any finish on it.
What's the radius on that? On the
This one is I believe it's 9.5, I think.
Okay, killer. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice. The neck already had a nice bow nut on it. and I do really like the
little rocker.
the dark fretboard. Yeah, I made that. I basically put the name on it.
Totally. Yeah, we
And-
watched the how to do the decal
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
It was cool.
And that's it. I mean, and it sounds really nice. I love the look.
Is it Peg City pickups in it? What's in it?
These pickups are Mr. Glenn pickups. These are
okay.
the Cruel Mistress
Oh,
pickups.
nice.
And they sound really, really good. So I'm happy. I'm super happy the way it came out. And, sometimes when you're building a part caster, things sometimes don't fit perfectly.
Totally.
Like you put the neck in there. Oh man, it's like, So in this particular build, the neck, how the neck has a little bit of a cantilever.
Yeah.
There's a little part that slips underneath the actual pick guard.
Yep.
Well, this one is like dead on the pick guard. Like in other words, there's no play between the bottom of that fretboard little lip and the fret.
Did you have to shim it up to get there, or no? It just fit.
No,
perfect?
it
that's
fit,
cool. Then
it fit perfect, but to be honest, I would have probably gotten a little bit lower action if I had a little bit more play. So it is what it is, because I like my action pretty low. But this one it's still very nice. It's still very playable. There's no issues with the playability on it, But it's just I'm very picky with the action on it,
totally.
And I absolutely love the double bound red, candy apple red with the rosewood fretboard. It's just,
a lot of people don't like rosewood as much. They're like, oh, that guitar should have had, maple. I don't know. I like the rosewood,
because the dark in the red and the candy apple has that darkness to it, and so that just when you have that chocolate,
it brings out that candy apple red that much more.
Yeah, the light would be oaky, would look cool too. Like, I mean, not mad at it. You leave it under my tree, I'm not going to throw it out the window. But I would rather have the rosewood all the time.
Yeah, me too. I'm very I don't mind having maple. I like maple guitars too.
Here, bring us back up, Charles. I want to show so this is because we're talking about here we go with a maple board.
Yeah, that's a nice one. I like that one
but
too.
But it's a totally different look. It's just a bright color, and it's not even a telly because it's just
it's got humbuckers in it.
2 humbuckers in it. But then again, good bone nut.
That's it.
But so totally different look, right? Completely. Yeah. And this is, Charles, look how terrible. I mean, I think you already have commented about the finish not being. Come on.
I did say something.
$100 body. Come on. It's all
It reminds me a lot of like a Charvel because of the humbuckers.
Totally.
And that's really a cool mix there.
It was built for the $400 guitar building contest from Texas Toast Guitars, which is
I remember that.
Cool. But I just couldn't at that point because I built it when I was doing okay, and then I quit my job and became a teacher. And money changes and fluctuates. Where I'm always safe and fine, but I just couldn't build a guitar for $400 and then send 100, ship it off for 150,
right?
And then have to ship it back for 150,
right.
And I was just like, well, let me try to coordinate this when I can just go up there because I want to do one of their workshops anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I might just go up there and at least bring one way and say, leave this for the $400 thing next year, and then send it back because
you guys are so lucky because being in the States, everything's so close, so you get to do things with other people. Here in Canada, we're so far away from each other, it's very difficult to just get together with somebody and say, okay, let's do something together, because it's there's a lot more space, unfortunately, and so.
Well, thank God for the internet, and also that goes back to right where we were, at the beginning, is being thankful because we're hanging out with you right now, and this is chill time to where we actually, I don't know what the chemical is in your brain that you release when you're a little bit happy because you're hanging out and you're comfortable with your friends.
Serotonin, I think.
Right, man, that one. Right, let me go back. So and that's a good thing for us, and that's why I'm so thankful and appreciative. And some people are like, "Wow, why was he so thankful in all his emails?" Because that's honest to God truth, and Charles knows that I'm a person that really speaks from, my heart, and I'll let you know how. Oh, dude, did I tell you I got in trouble for calling somebody dude? the other night. The guy said, "I'm not your dude," because I said to him, "We just want to get the house fixed and all the stuff that you promised us when you said it would be done 6 months ago. We want that done, dude." And he said, "I'm not your dude." And I said, "Well, you live in California, you wear jeans, you live on a ranch, and you got a belt buckle. So that's 4 reasons why I'm not a jerk for calling you dude. I'm sorry if you took offense to it, but it's a little bit of a semi-term of endearment, and now I'll just call you Dick."
There you go.
But anyway, yeah, that don't
Problem solved.
Right? So I'm not your dude, and I didn't even call him my dude. I'm gonna say, "Hey, my dude."
Hey, speaking of dudes,
Yeah.
So here he goes.
so
It's all falling apart now.
no. Charles, just because before we actually started the show, you were showing your really nice Gretsch guitar. So we never actually finished that. So let's have another look at that guitar. I mean, it's a really nice looking guitar you got there.
All right.
Bring it on out.
I guess I can do that.
Oh, man.
Let's see. We get some room here.
Yeah, make some room.
Let's see.
There you go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And if you look by the fret holes, and you'll see the grain. It's subtle, but it's there. And this thing and it's hard to kind of get onto the camera, but this thing has some really cool grain running throughout that whole top.
It looks beautiful.
Weird.
It looks
Green,
beautiful.
That's killer. Yeah.
Yeah.
What day did you get that, Charles? Do you remember what day you got that?
I got this right before that Friday show.
All right.
Right before that Friday show. It was like I got home with it about 10 minutes before the Friday show we did. And some folks were giving me some grief in the chat about how I needed to get a Gretsch. And every time they said I needed to get a Gretsch, it was sitting in a chair right behind me there. So I would just kind of.
But what was the date? Was it like December 7th or December 8th? December 7th, December 8th, December 7th, December 8th?
It was last Friday, I think. It was last Friday or the Friday. Either last Friday or the Friday before.
Hold on, I got to go to my calendar now.
So would
have been last Friday. Would have been December 8th. So check this out, Charles. This is a trip. And Tony, I'm sorry, but the side note. But my buddy Todd from Toad the Wet Sprocket, single me out big, Charles, if you don't mind.
Okay, hold on.
Bought this on the same day that you bought your Gretsch. A Gretsch. Hold on, let me zing it back in here. A Gretsch Country Gentleman.
You gotta turn your phone.
I know. I'm terrible. All right, I'll leave it like this, and I'll go like that, and now we should be good.
Here you go.
Gretsch Country. That's got the
nice
one pickup.
Yeah.
Dude, he
nice,
got it on the same day you got yours. That's a trip. You guys are Gretsch brothers now.
Here you go.
That just happened? What?
I think you did.
So is that an early Christmas gift, Charles? What is that? Is that a specific reason why you got
this was opportunity, Tony, because there's a pawn shop in my town, and it is like so close to my house, it's not funny. And so I'm always in there. And they're the one, and of the 3 pawn shops in town, it is the one that carries the best guitars, right? There's a guitar guy that works there. There's a guitar guy that owns it. And so I had went in when they first got it in. They wanted $500 for it, and
good deal at $500.
And I sat there and I pulled it off the wall and I played it and I was like, "That is going to be mine. It is going to be mine." I says, "Look, do you want 3? I'll give you $350 for it right now," which is obscene, because $500 is fair money for that thing all day long.
Yeah,
totally,
for sure.
Totally.
For sure.
And they're like, no. So, but I kept working on the owner. I kept working on him every. I'd go in there every week and I'd play it, and I've bought stuff from there before, so they know I'm a buyer. And so they offered me $400 for it. I was like, still too much for me. And I was like,
you drive a hard bargain there, Charles.
Right.
But it was funny because we were talking about when they were going to have sales and this and that and the other thing. Because he's always trying to keep me coming back in there because he knows I buy, right? And so I went in that last Friday before the show. I think it was last Friday. Is it last Friday or Friday before? I can't really remember at this point. But anyway, I went in like right, hour before the show. and because I had to go pick up my son at work, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go over there and look and see. And they had it marked down to 400. And so I went over and I grabbed it off the wall, knowing I only had a few minutes. And I sit there, and I was plucking away on it. And the other guy was in, and I said, look, is he ready to take $350 for this yet or not? I wasn't mentioning anywhere.
Let's
She's
get
like,
it done.
and he's like,
Let's do
sold.
Sold.
Awesome, man.
And so it was like that. And so it came home with it. It was destined to come home with it.
It's a sign. It's a sign. You know, so many times I say this, and I don't know if you guys have similar experiences, but you know how sometimes you come across a guitar somewhere. It could be listed on, you know, some online, you know, Kijiji or whatever, you know, whatever your local Craigslist is or whatever.
Right, exactly.
And you look at it and you're like, I like that guitar. Like it clicks, right? You know, that's a guitar that you would like to buy. Mm-hmm. And you're like, you know, it's not the right time, whatever. And you know, any normal other week, it would have probably sold, but it's still there. And you come back a week later and it's still there. And it's like, why is it still there? You know? And it's like, it's happened to me a couple of times, and I'll go and I'll buy the guitar, you know, after like a couple of weeks that's been sitting there, and it's not an ugly guitar, or there's nothing wrong with it. It would have normally sold already, but it's like, if it doesn't sell and you pick it up, it's meant to be. It's like a sign, you know? So it's happened to me a few times, and I love those guitars. They were like wonderful guitars. So it's like, you know, and other times you look at a guitar and it's gone like the same day, you know, it's like, well, if it's not meant to be,
it might have been a piece of junk.
It could have been garbage, you know?
Exactly.
So
I've done a Craigslist. I hesitate to call it a beatdown, but like this guy had a Strat, a 74, because I was born in 74, Strat for like $2,500 on Craigslist. And I beat him up over 6 months because it was on it for 6 months and he just couldn't sell it. I got him down to $1,500, and I was like, dude, $1,500 cash. I'm there. You know, here's the reason. I'm born in 74. And when you're ready, I think one of the final ones was like, when you're ready, I'm ready. And so finally, and I think this was one of the first times that I drove out and kind of met somebody kind of near Oakland, but kind of closer to Concord, where you're not going to get shot maybe.
At least not shot so too hard. Let's say.
I had a good idea because I'd been emailing him for 6 months, and the guy was coming from like probably not going to shoot you area and meeting me in the Bay Area. So we met, and I had to have $1,500 cash, and I picked it up, and I kind of felt it for a second, and I knew the second that I held it, I didn't bond with it, but I bought it anyway. And I took it home and I played it, and I was like, man, I like this guitar a lot, but I don't love this guitar. I love the guitar that I got from my stepdad, who it's his Strat, and he died. And I love that guitar, and this I'm trying to chase down my birth year, and but I found it, and I was like, you know what? It was a realization that guitar means more to me than any birth year guitar.
There you go.
I need to, play that one. Actually, I need to play that one more, and I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. I totally regret selling the first guitar that I ever had, which my mom bought me.
I'm on the lookout for single Ibanez.
Roadstar 2.
Roadstar 2. RS2.
Black. Yeah, it's
internet. Anyway, anybody sees it.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know. I know it was a good guitar. It was a good guitar, but it's a sentimental value. It's not the value of the guitar, obviously, but it's sentimental value. But whatever, we all do silly things. But let me ask you guys this: what was the, let's say, the most expensive guitar that you've ever bought? If maybe you haven't done this and you're not as crazy as I am, but have bought, let's say, sight unseen, like let's say over the internet or something like that. Ooh. Have you guys done this before?
Sight unseen.
Like what I mean is you've seen pictures, but you haven't played it, you know, haven't touched it.
$500 or $600, probably.
Okay, so here's the part where I have to kind of confess. I've never paid more than $350 for a guitar.
Holy, that's amazing.
Right. And so now I will say a lot of the guitars I work with for the fabric topping, I'll buy those sight unseen all the time. So the things that I fabric top, it doesn't really matter. So I buy things off of, things off of Goodwill all the time. That fabric top Strat there was a $24 purchase off of Goodwill.
Totally. That's
sweet buy. That's
a sweet buy.
I have a $2,000 acoustic that I bought 20 years ago for $2,000. So that'd be easily $3,500 now. Single luthier build. It's called a Lakewood. It's built in the style of a Martin, same style, but just hand built. And I bought that because I was such a fanboy of singer-songwriter at the time. I was like, I got to get that same good. But it also sounds amazing, and it still has its value. People that know Lakewood know it. So
Yeah, that's the thing. When you get a really nice find like that and you enjoy it and you don't regret it, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, you know. But it doesn't happen all that often. I have to say, like now with age and with playing a lot of different guitars, I've become jaded. Let's say I've become more picky.
you know what's good, and you don't want to. We have a finite. I used to tell customers we have a finite amount of time left in our life before we're gone. Each time that we pick up our guitar is one of those numbers of times that you can cross off that list that you're going to be able to pick up your guitar before you die. Do you want to enjoy it, or do you want to be frustrated the whole time? Oh, fuck, this is not working. Oh, well, that's what we're here for, is to make you have joy on more of those lines before you die. And P.S., you're going to die. Death is imminent.
There you go. Nobody gets
That's
that
a great
right.
sales pitch.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Every time I go to a guitar store, I'm looking.
You say you're going to die, buy this guitar.
No, well, it's close to that sometimes.
Right,
and they see me there often enough.
I'm going to die if you don't buy this guitar.
You know how many times I walk in and walk out with nothing? It's like, but it's so discouraging because I walk in there and I'm like, okay, there's like, I don't know, there's got to be at least over 200 guitars on the wall here. There's got to be something that's going to be good. And I walk in and I'll try this and I'll try that. And it's like, they look good. But when I play them, it's like, no, they're not, there's something not right. You know, it's like the one I got at home plays better. And it's like, I didn't pay that kind of money for it. So it's like, I can't justify just buying something just for the heck of it.
I walk in and I can eliminate like 90% of the guitars immediately because I'm just like very snobby. Oh, nothing pointy. Oh, nothing, nothing. I don't want anything hollow body today. And I just, no basses. Oh, and then I'll just like go and I'll check out 4 guitars and I'll be like, I guess and then you know what I do look at and I long for? A really good Music Man Luke. Right, or something like that would be sweet. Or I have fine taste. I'll take a Porsche too if you're handing them out, but like that's not going to happen. So I'll play my Presley and I'll drive my Geo.
If you go back in my early videos, like some of the really early ones, you'll see I used to have a Music Man.
No, I have seen it. Yeah,
and that guitar was amazing. Like I love that guitar. The only reason I sold it is the actual width at the neck was very small. Very narrow.
Yep, super small. If you got baby hands, get a Luke. Yeah, if you have a baby hands, they're.
But everything else about the guitar was fantastic.
Light and
the neck, beautiful. Like overall, beautiful neck. They don't seal it in the back, so it's like just wax and oil, and it had it was like a bird's eye maple fretboard. You had little birds in it, and it just was an amazing guitar. But just
worth
because
the money.
I couldn't bond with the just how narrow it was here.
Yep.
And it's not something I can change, So I had to get rid of it. But had a Floyd on it and everything. It was really nice. But the funny thing is when I later on I purchased a Wolfgang Stealth, and same thing. After a while, I realized it has the same narrow
little, and then you're pinching. If you have big hands, you're kind of pinching because you think that you want all that rollover with your thumb, but you want a certain amount. You want just enough to get that string.
Yep.
And then you want all of the rest of the rollover on the bottom of your hand to do the dealio.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
I feel
right.
you, brother.
That's
I feel
right.
you. I'm there.
So, unfortunately, now if you look at those guitars now, this was many. Oh, it's crazy! You can't even buy these things anymore. It's crazy.
Well, you notice the body I showed you earlier. This is a I can't afford a Luke guitar.
Yeah.
Right, and then I went 3-bolt on the back because I just wanted to be a little bit unique, and then I waited a year and I just got tired of the whole project.
Sometimes that happens. I have guitar parts in boxes that I've probably had in a box for like 5 or 6 years now. That I originally had,
Big plans
the
for,
drive to do something with it. And I'm like, not now.
Not
But
now.
eventually I'll do something with it. It's just
Totally.
all
Or
the
give
time.
it to the local high school that probably, our school, we do a thing where we're building guitars this year. It's like, you guys don't know how lucky you are to have me here because we're actually going to do scale length this year.
That's cool. That's
Right?
cool.
It's pretty fun. We have all the stuff to do it. So, dude, we're so thankful that you came and hung out with us tonight.
Oh,
And
yeah,
hopefully
without
in
a
the
doubt.
future,
Without a
like
doubt.
My pleasure.
Charles has his show that is more of an interview where we kind of take you from you get bombarded with questions that are designed to make you feel uncomfortable and awkward. Right? Like, hey,
What
how
I
much
do.
money is in your checking account right now? What color are your wife's underwear?
Those are easy questions, guys.
Right? Can we see, are you willing to show us your browser history? Stuff like that we all want to share, right?
That's
No,
cool.
I'm
I like
joking.
that.
He has a really cool show, and it's like an interview. What I like about it is that it's going to be a library of when people comes onto the community. If you like, I made friends with Ryan Hall. Well, at some point, he'll probably be on Charles's show, and you'll be able to go back and be like, oh, Ryan's, this is his guitar journey, because that's what Charles is thinking about. And my show is just weird, awkward, and boring, but we play guitar, and so I try to write a song. So if you and I did playing some Presleys, we would just collaborate, and we'd probably write down some chords, and I get my looper going. Like
That's
this.
cool.
It would sound like this. Just some music, right? We just write out some chords, and then you're like, hey, man, let's write some lyrics over that. Oh, that's a really wimpy song to have on tonight. Guys, don't judge me on that song. I know it's not cool and tough. That's one that I wrote to like make my mom happy. Anyway.
It's good to see that some channels out there actually with all this gear, people actually play their guitars, because most of the time I'm not even playing my guitar. I'm just like talking about gear, So it's like
and setting up a camera and cleaning a light. Same thing here. I'm like, my studio is like, I used to work on guitars here, and now I look around. I'm like, oh my, but I still do. I changed strings tonight and tuned up. Which one? That red one up there. That's on the. Anyway, yeah, just trying to keep it going, keep these guitars set up nicely. So, and Tony, you are doing your Sunday show this week?
That's the plan, unless
Nice.
something happens. Yep.
So we got Tony
probably
Sunday morning.
Yeah, 10 o'clock, I think it should be the time slot. So
leads into Charles, and then Charles is like an hour after that chatting with Charles.
Beautiful.
And then how about videos, guys? Do you guys have more anything? You have an update on your amp build coming out? What's in the works?
That one's already in the pipeline. I just don't know if I'm going to release it this week or not. I have some other stuff that I wanted to actually set out first, so I'm probably going to finish those. As I mentioned on my live show the other day, my batteries for my camera died on me. It ended up not being the batteries; it was actually the charger. So I had to get a new charger so I can actually charge the batteries to make the videos. You see how it works?
Well, hey, I don't want to overwhelm your channel with subscribers, but I'm going to ask all 137 subscribers of Presley Customs to go over and check out Tony and subscribe to him and try not to break the internet. But no, we really appreciate you being here, brother, and hanging out with Guitar Safari, because this is literally you're the culmination, and
you're the reason why this happened. It's when you really
get an open link. Like if you just get a link every week and you can drop in and just do a report, or drop in and scrutinize my going off the rails. It's okay, bro. I'm sorry.
Dude, it's my pleasure, and I don't mean to call you dude because I know you're very sensitive.
Right, I know. I'm not. You're actually, dude. That's what I mean, dude. I feel so endeared by that. You're my dude.
That's it. Dudes are good. No,
and just know that this guitar spot here in California is going to be set up very soon with like a Murphy bed, and there's a shower and a bathroom, and it's its own little thing. So probably your wife isn't super stoked on it, but you would be super stoked on it. And, to stay a day or two, and we are right next to wine country, and like right next to the Golden Gate Bridge and all that.
I've never been to California, believe it or not. And it's always been on my bucket list. I got to go to California. I got to go to San Francisco. I got to go to all these places. believe me, if ever I'm in the neck of the woods, I'll definitely let you know for sure. We'll go out for a beer or something, and we'll just hang out.
Or 4.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Who's counting?
I'm not gonna drive. You're gonna have a rental car, because either that or you're gonna be on the handlebars of my e-bike.
Of the
and
e-bike.
That would be weird, right? Exactly. Hold on, Tony. We're going to town.
And then just with our luck, that kid that you were, gonna save is probably gonna drive right by and say, "What are you guys doing?"
He would run into us with his hands in his pocket and be like, "What are you old men doing?" Shit, man. It's super fun hanging out.
Charles, I appreciate the invite, man. It's like it's always been, I've always wanted to catch up with you guys and talk to you guys in person. It's definitely not the same when you're talking to yourself and just reading the comments.
Yeah.
It's so much better when you're actually having a two-way conversation. So I really do appreciate
it. And it's nice because, we've had the conversations in the chat. We've had the email conversations. So being able to do it like this, more or less face to face is
well,
better.
And now that Tony, you've seen my face, that if you were ever walking onto a bus, you would be like, "Oh shit, I better go to the next seat." Or I'm going to be talking to that dude. That dude's going to talk to me, and he's going to ask me for my peanut M&Ms, and I don't want to share my peanut M&Ms. So that's just it.
So what's I don't see all of the comments going by, but I don't know if the people in the chat room are engaged with our crazy talk, or if they're just like
they have been. I've been throwing up the comments that are super relevant where we're talking about, and folks coming in, like Jim Cox just came in. Welcome in, buddy. And but no, they've been on board. When the Telecaster came out,
people were in love.
It got some love, and they've kind of been on board and sharing their similar stories with us that we've been talking about as well.
That's great.
What might be neat is if we put a thing out, Tony, and you'd be the guy for this, to do like everybody, you'd have to get ahead of it in a way that everybody could order parts and then kind of do a build all together, but in segments. You know what I mean? Like this week, we're just going to do this part, and we just do the bridge this week, or we just do the whatever. I mean, I'm sure you have it, but I have my custom guitar building checklist. I could email it to you and see how different it is from your and maybe you have some good input. But that might be a fun thing to do all together and all kind of build different but the same. Right,
that'd be
and
cool.
see what we have.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I can tell you there's so many people have like reached out in terms of like those messy workbench videos that I put out. And honestly, I'm like, I don't know if this is actually going to resonate with anybody, because it's kind of boring. It's like I'm doing it because I'm working on my guitars and I like doing it. But is that somebody going to like watching it? And I get so many people like texting me, sending me messages like, "Thanks for the videos. They're great. It's like I learned so much because you went through the whole thing and you didn't skip any steps and you're doing it in real time and all this kind of stuff." So I'm like, okay, well, somebody's getting some value out of it.
Thank you, Ferd Burfel, for breaking the internet and subscribing to it. Now he's 30,001.
Thanks, man.
Dude.
Thanks, Ferd.
Dude, Tony, you're the man. And I appreciate, so the thing you should know before we go, because we got to go at some point. I'm sure we're stepping on somebody's toes, right, Charles?
We
may be. Keep going a little bit longer. But the way it's been, you should know this, that you have been in my guitar life since I took the leap of faith to stop doing like reverb when I decided to work for the guitar store. Because you've been doing this for 10 years, and I'd seen the videos from back in the day. And you really became more of a common thing when I hurt my arm surfing, and I was off work for 6 months. So I was just at home. But luckily, when my arm got hurt, they put it in a position I could play guitar. So I sat at home and played guitar for 6 months. So, but anyway, that was part of my whole journey. I was like, well, I need to get into this. I like that, and I was always into it before as a kid and knew a lot, but needed to refresh. And going back to working with Jeff, working at Guitar Works really refreshed me.
Well, you know what? I mean, to me, it's like when I hear somebody like working and on guitars, it's like a dream. It's like a dream job for me. It's like I'd love to be doing that. It's like, and you're getting paid for doing that.
Totally. And learning new skills, right? When you had the questions, I could ask the questions and all that. It was really great. But hey, man, I will see you on Sunday, right?
Hope so.
Charles, I will see you after I see him. But usually with you guys, I am literally getting ready to go to work. I work all day.
Yeah,
on
you're
Sunday.
going out the door when I'm getting started.
But I listen while I'm driving, but I don't comment because that would be unsafe.
Guys,
So,
you got to promise me that we'll do this again because, I love talking about stuff, and nothing's better than talking about gear like this with people that are like-minded and, have the same obsession. Obviously, you guys love guitars.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. God,
So,
obviously.
We'd
if
love to have you back. Actually, if you're asking to come back, we're going to book you for next week. Not
anytime, just
and ongoing, right?
just send me the links, and hopefully sometimes you guys could come on my channel. I'm open for that too.
Oh.
And
Why not?
if I'm up in the area, I will just stop by unannounced with my luggage, and I will only bring maximum. I will bring probably less than 5 or 6 family members, but we won't. We won't want to impose, but we might impose.
There's enough guitars to go around. Don't worry about it.
I can't get 6 family members to hang out with me, dude. It would be me and my angry wife. Hey, Charles, are you going to do the dealio? You're the man, Charles, for running the show, and I'm sorry that I've been so off the rails, but
that's all right. That's what we do. So I guess we'll, Tony, thank you for coming on. Really,
dude,
it's been
my pleasure.
We're gonna have to do it.
Tony's show
Definitely
is Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific or 7:30.
Yeah, that's right. And so we put the link to his channel there several times in the chat. You've got 3 subs I know of during the broadcast.
Thanks, guys.
So there you go. But thank you so much for coming on, everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll be ready to go next week with another edition of Guitar Safari. On Sunday, my guest is unfucking believable for chatting with Charles. So it's going to be a great time. So thank you guys, everybody. Tony, stay put for a minute. We'll chat in the green room here. And let's go ahead and play some music to get these guys out and have a great start to their weekend here.
I'm going to die here with Presley. He's going to kill me.